Welcome back, everyone. I'm Suka, and I've been playing Brighter Shores for about 30 hours now. Brighter Shores, if you don't know, is a game by Andrew Gower, who's one of the developers of RuneScape a while back, and I have some thoughts. Brighter Shore has an episode system where each episode has different biomes, different aesthetics, and different professions. Currently, there are only 4 episodes out right now. 2 of them were premium, and I'm on the 3rd episode in the mines. I think I've played enough to really get an idea of what the game's about and how I feel about it. So let's start with the professions. In each episode, they all have different professions. There are different gathering, crafting, and combat professions. Starting with the gathering, there are multiple different gathering items, and then there are multiple different tiers of those items. And all those tiers of items can be found in the same nodes, which is kind of cool, but it got me asking, was having higher tier items necessary? And I'm going to be comparing this game with RuneScape. With RuneScape, when you level up, you get access to a completely different item the higher level you go. Where in Brighter Shores, you still have that, but you also have the addition of the higher tier of items, which, was it necessary is what I'm wondering. Instead of just a higher tier item, why not just have us reach higher items? Makes the bank less cluttery. You don't see multiple different items. You don't have to make sure whether it's rugged or coarse or not. I don't know. But on the flip side, it doesn't negatively impact me when I'm playing this game, really. My main question is, was that a necessary addition to the game? So another thing, they do not have a centralized bank, which means you have to run back to a specific work area to store whatever you're gathering. Ores to the blacksmith area, wood to the carpentry area, etc. Which makes gathering kind of painful whenever you're gathering something that's further out away from the work area. That is until you reach 32 construction and you finish a side quest, which unlocks these strange rocks dotted around the maps of the episodes, which allows you to easily store anything you're carrying into those different banks. So essentially a centralized banking system, which makes gathering much easier. You just have to grind for it, which I think is good. Reward for leveling and grinding these skills is always nice, and I like that. Tools, very expensive for whatever reason, but that's pretty much it about gathering. It's a grinding game. Has nothing else to it. They need more rewards like the strange rocks, more quality of life unlocks, which makes leveling these professions more worthwhile. I wish there were more semi-AFK gathering nodes. I know there are passive gathering, but those provide less EXP than active gathering, right? Where I'm talking about in RuneScape, you would have, say, magic trees, and you would have your guy stand there and chop for a while, and you get multiple logs in one tree. Whereas in Brighter Shores, each tree gives 1 log, and it's a constant clicking fest. Which, you know, that's the game, but more nodes that take a while to run out is my one suggestion for gathering. It will make it more fun. Fishing especially, I hate the fact that the fish disappears after 1 click and there are like 6 fish in each area. So you're just clicking. It's annoying. 1 click, let us just fish there. And then we could just hang out and chat with people. I think that was the best part of RuneScape when fishing. You just sit there, fish, and talk about your fishing level. Crafting. Definitely more semi-AFKable, which is nice. And I like the different tools that they threw into the workshop. It made me actually feel like I'm actually constructing something as a carpenter, or crafting something when I'm doing my stonework or whatever. Cons, some professions like cooking only gives money. It doesn't provide any buffs or anything, so I'm wondering whether it's worth it to do cooking. Sure, it gives decent money, but I feel like you could be training something else and getting money at the same time, so cooking's kind of moot unless it unlocks something that would give us more quality of life in the future, which for now I don't think it does. So that's fine there. Crafting, it's craft. I have no other thoughts about that. I think it works. I think it's good. So let's talk about combat. And combat is the most debatable professions on whether it's good or not. Mainly because each episode has a different combat profession. They do not interconnect between episodes like crafting and gathering do. And my question is, do we need a new profession in every episode? So we restart at level 0. And sure, it's fun starting at level 0, grinding for gear again, getting stronger. That's cool. But combat is essentially the same in all episodes. And I'm up to episode 3. So they're all literally just the same reskin of episode 1's profession, the guard. You get a single hand, you get a double hand weapon, you get ranged. That's it. Special attacks will be unlocked soon at some point when they're done developing it, but I'm sure it's still gonna be the same. So what if we get to episode 10 and we have the same combat routine? I think that would be hella boring. Instead, I do have a suggestion. Instead of each episode having a reskinned combat profession, let's just say episode 1, the guard, we have our melee profession. All melee, single, double-handed, whatever. Maybe, yeah, have the range, but limited. Episodes 2, we have the scout, which we could have a focus on ranged attacks, right? Give us like more bows, crossbows, special attacks on ranged stuff, right? That'd be cool. Maybe give them a dagger to fight off enemies, or a push or something, right? More skills for a scout. Traps, right? Episode 3, mine fighter. I don't know, pickaxe, maybe magic, that'd be cool. Mine fighter, explosion magic, break down the caves, I don't know. You get the idea, right? Episode 4, we're going to some place that sounds like a crypt. Maybe have episode 4's combat profession be a necromancer, right? You get the idea. Instead of reskinning the same combat profession, I think everyone would enjoy more if each episode had a different type of combat. Maybe a different melee, sword and shield. Maybe you got a berserker, right? And then at some point you can have maybe a giant raid boss where you require different professions in the same team. Maybe have a priest in one of the episodes. Wouldn't that be sick? I like that idea. Andrew Gower, you should really go on that. That would be hella cool. Maybe he's cooking on that. I don't know. But that's my idea of making combat professions much, much better. It makes the idea of restarting at level 0 make more sense to me. Just an idea. Gear feels horrible. Upgrades are not substantial enough. They are not impactful. I would get a level 1 gear item with a rank 4 rarity, right? And it would have better stats than a level 20 item at tier 1. That doesn't really make sense to me. And finally, we have a faction choice. There are 3 factions: Cryo Knight, Guardian, and Hammer Mage. The only thing that's different about them is you get a different weakness depending on who you pick, and you get a visual change in the gear. Nothing else really notable. Maybe more changes in the future for sure, but right now there's no point in choosing them. And the fact that you're permanently in that faction is kind of a problem. What if there's a boss that targets your specific weakness? Nothing you can do about that, so you can't fight the boss. That feels weird. Brighter Shores has a system called knowledge points. Every activity rewards a certain amount of knowledge points, and when you reach 100%, you get a chance to unlock something. To unlock something with knowledge points, a profession needs to be level 20. So you have the choice of unlocking a passive activity. You could trade the point for experience for a level 20 profession, or you could trade points for money. And I see a lot of people using it for mainly passive activity and experience, which makes the most sense. So I don't know how much faster. I mean, it makes leveling, gathering, and crafting much faster for sure. But I don't know if it was a worthwhile trade. For example, if they didn't trade points for experience and they instead passed that through all of the professions to lower the amount of experience you needed to level up, would that be better? I don't know. But it does reward active play, which I like. You know, I don't think they do need to change that. So I think knowledge points are fine. And I like the passive activities because unlike in RuneScape, these activities we can start, log off and go to sleep. And then we have a 24-hour maximum of rewards that we can get from it. So I think I like that. RuneScape should add that. Don't know if they will. Probably never. So all these professions, a lot of busy work, not enough reward or quality of life upgrades yet. I'm sure he'll add it eventually since this game's still early access. Map chunks. What do we say about the map chunks? So I like how in the minimap, it denotes what each map chunk has in terms of resources. And I like that it does limit the amount of people in a certain map. So it limits how crowded a chunk can get, which is important for, say, fishing. Fishing, sometimes there are people running around all over the water. You can't see if a fish spawned. So that makes it kind of annoying. That's pretty good. Cons. It was very jarring at first when I first started playing. And this was before map click to move was implemented. So you have to click in the actual game to move around. And it was kind of annoying having to just move to the next chunk. Everything's in a fog of war. It was kind of annoying. So yeah, things in the next chunk are hidden, unclickable, but it also makes gathering a pain where certain gathering resources are split into multiple different maps. And instead of being able to just click that resource in the other map chunk, you have to go through to the other map and then click on it. And I find that kind of annoying. When compared to RuneScape, you can just zoom out a whole ton and just click wherever you need to go. And the minimap looked very cluttered to me when I first started. And even now, it's still kind of confusing to look at, but I think I'll get used to it at some point. I don't know if that makes it a good or bad thing. But map chunks, not a fan, but whatever. I got used to it. After all that, Andrew Gower is still, he has been going crazy with updating this game. Nearly every single day he has an update. Quality of life, the map clicking, left click action. Right before, when you left click, it would do a menu and they have to click again. So he made the action economy much easier. And yeah, I'm sure he's gonna continue updating the game, obviously. Overall, this game makes me want to play RuneScape. But I don't think this is a bad game. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I've played nearly 30 hours of this game already, and I'm having a good time. I just do wish for different combat professions because the combat doesn't feel good right now. The combat's very 50-50 on whether you win or not. If your health is the same as the enemy and they're hitting just a tiny bit faster, you're gonna die. Drinking potions is kind of a pain, takes too long. I wish the potion drinking was more instant. Experience potions taking up a inventory slot is kind of a pain, which I know RuneScape has you just hold all the potions and healing stuff inside the inventory, but you know, he could do better. That's my thoughts. I'm gonna keep playing Brighter Shores. I'm excited to see what this game will look like at 1.0, and that's when I will do a actual real review, because obviously this game is still early access and a lot will be changing, and I'm looking forward to that. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all later.